life?
I think you just take it in day by day and moment by moment. You appreciate your tough times as much as your good times. And baseball's just helped with organizing everything in life. It's been a big part of my life. I do it every day, and I don't know what I'd do without it. So next year, I just hope I get to make FIU proud and make my mom proud.
Mom's already proud.
Yeah.
Mom is incredibly proud of you. Since the day I met her, she wore that on. And all, by the way, proud of all of you. You're not the exception. She has a daughter that's a teacher here that's just a wonderful young lady. And then we talked about your oldest. And she represents you guys so well and so proudly. That's how moms do things. That's how they do things. As a ball player, do you find yourself, you plop on the couch and random baseball games on and you watch it because it's baseball?
I watch college baseball, not so much Major League Baseball, but definitely college baseball.
Is it because you're looking toward? Are you scouting? Are you scouting? Hold on a second. Let me guess. You watch what is it? What are they in? What conference are they? Conference USA,
yeah.
right? So are you watching Conference USA baseball?
No. I just like college baseball is more emotion compared to the big leagues. Now the big leagues is getting a little better. I think the baseballs are a little juiced to make the game.
This year, I think, remember how I made an insinuation earlier in the show because we were talking about offensive numbers, and Dan made the point earlier in the show that the numbers are up this year.
Yeah.
And we were making fun of the Marlins, and even though the numbers are up, Marlins can't find an extra base hit. You know, if it's sitting there in front of their face, they still can't find it. They can hit water if they fell out of a boat. They're one of the, I mean, they're the worst slugging percentage, worst OPS, third worst batting average in the league, worst winning percentage in the league, and they're on pace to win 43 games, which is horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. But that being said, you watch college because you find it to be more emotional.
Yeah.
Are you into the strategies of the game? Bunt the guy over. Because we see a lot of that in college, though.
Definitely important in baseball. And in the bigs, they don't really value it as much because they have guys 1 through 9 that can hit the ball out. But then college, high school, you have guys that have to play their role.
So I'm going to ask you some delicate questions because I know that you play high school ball. So these are rhetorical, theoretical questions, not something that I'm saying you would do today or this season or at any point in time in your career, but understanding that you're a pitcher and understanding that baseball is very well known for its unwritten rules. We talk about it a lot here on the show.
Yeah.
Is the new wave of baseball moving away from those unwritten rules, or do you find that you live by those very same rules maybe your dad coached you up to, or taught you, or your mom, the ones that I know I lived up to? Like those rules lived in Flagami and Tamiami and Sweetwater, Coral Park, wherever I played, that's where they lived. And to me, it hasn't changed. He says I'm outdated and I'm really showing my age. No way of hiding it by shaving my head. The gray hairs are popping out even though there's no hair there. And he says that the new way of baseball is the way Caribbean leagues do it, where they do the bat toss, they do the dancing. So you like that.
Yeah,
so you're not the one that throws at a guy for doing a bat toss on you. If he goes yard on you, you're good.
Yeah, I mean, he earns it. Like, you know how hard is it to hit a ball over the fence?
You know, that's funny. Those are the exact words that he says. Word for it. He goes, you know how hard it is to hit a baseball over
Marcus
the fence?
Stroman said it the best. He's like, if he hit it, he hit it. That's him. It's my fault for leaving the pitch down the middle or making a mistake.
But isn't he the one that had the problem with Dietrich this year?
No, that was Archer.
Oh, that was Archer. Okay, my bad. Yeah.
I mean, the guy put the ball 450 feet. Like, give it to him.
You got it, right?
And if he wants to do it and you want to peg him, then you go with that. But I think it's all emotion. And, you know, I think playing with emotion is the most important part of the game.
But that's my argument to this. It's emotion.
I know. I'm just not a proponent of taking a bat and tossing it in the air.
Like Tim Anderson, I love what he did. And he took the 96-mile-per-hour fastball to the ribs, and he was okay with it.
It was fine. And that was it. And then it all policed itself, and then it was done.
I think they should do like a hockey thing.
But then he threw when he had the walk-off home run the other day.
But hold on, did you hear what
But
he
they
just
do
said?
the hockey thing kind of.
Did you hear what he just said? And as much as he's fine with it, he believes it should be like hockey. Se quieren enredar?
But they do kind of do the hockey thing because they do clear the benches, they run out there, and they do fight.
It's funny. We had your teammate, George Blanco, on last week, and we set a scenario for him. And the scenario was basically, if he showed off and then he got plunked, he know why he got plunked. He might not be happy about it, but there would be no, as a catcher, there would be no retaliation. He was very clear about it.
If you think about it. And you help your team out, you get a run on base.
And that's it.
We'll be okay
and the line is there.
But what I think it's sad that it gets to that. It's sad that I hit a home run, I flip the bat, and now the next time I come up to bat,
maybe.
I'd rather have you strike me out and do cartwheels to the dugout.
But did you?
And I'll be okay with that.
Did you see this weekend what occurred with all of this, right? You are aware of what happened this weekend.
Right. Yes, but that bothers me in the sense of you've already played the Marlins, right, with the Braves. The Braves had already played the Marlins. It was just Orena didn't pitch.
Right.
In that same game where Orena hit Acuna, they hit Brian Anderson. So to me, your theory is once one guy gets hit, it's over.
You know what? The only thing I couldn't figure out. I couldn't figure out in my lifetime. I couldn't figure out. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just couldn't figure out as I watched all of that play out. Like I thought Brian McCann was already eligible for Hall of Fame voting. So he's in the league still.
Oh, yeah.
He's playing with Atlanta after a 2-year stint with Houston. For the second time, he's back to Atlanta, and he's back to being the indignant baseball etiquette police. He's the one who decides whether something's acceptable or not. I have had it with that guy. So what made me most mad about our Marlins, right, is that he is the catcher who makes the decision to call that pitch. Brian, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know if he was in the game. No,
I didn't watch the game.
Okay, but if a catcher's behind home plate, you could obviously make a decision to throw at somebody, and the catcher really has no say in it, right? But if you're Brian McCann, and there's a reason to throw at him, Acuna getting hit last year, right? Then you have to imagine that them throwing behind
No, I think that was a team thing because when the pitcher missed Orena, that they showed Acuna in the dugout, like he had a face like, come on, man, you had one job, and it was to hit that guy.
Okay, so
this was a predetermined thing.
So that to me is sad. So that is more sad than anything you've ever brought up. But what I'm trying to tell you is that comes, and there's a captain to that. Like there's somebody spearheading that charge.
Yeah, what is it, the kangaroo?
Manager and catcher. Yeah. Manager and catcher. Manager's going, whatever it is they do, he slaps himself in the face, meaning hit him. And the catcher goes, y le mete tablazo por la espalda. Right? Huh? Why is it that Brian McCann's always in the middle of that stuff?
Because he's the no fun police.
Okay. Well, I did a little research, right, on Brian McCann. And did you see? I have a new nickname for him, and we're going with a hashtag. The next time the Braves are in town, we're going to give him a Brandon Nemo welcoming. I'm going to work on this. Heck, the Marlins can barely draw anybody. If I can guarantee them 60 or 70 people heckling players on the field, they should be tossing the tickets at me, right? But in theory, we should go out there, and every time he comes up, we should have a chant. And I think the hashtag should be, everybody should take pictures of him, and instead of McCann, it's Brian McGarbage Can. Hashtag McGarbage Can.
Do you think if I walk into Marlins Park with a tin garbage can, they'll allow it? Because I was Oscar the Grouch a couple of years ago, and I already have it set up with the suspenders and everything.
Dude, it fit me, or is it too big?
Oh, I think it'll fit you.
Bring it in tomorrow. We're gonna do a segment on McCann.
I don't think though. As long as you can pass it through their little.
I don't think they'll let it through, so we're gonna have to do it here. But we got cameras here. I'll be more than happy to do it. But McGarbage Can hit 212 last year, which is why he's not with Houston anymore. Because everybody hits 270 with Houston. McCann hits 212 with Houston. All right? McCann has a couple of bases this year. For some reason, his early batting average is right around 300. I guess he thinks he's an all-star again, right? Forgetting his age. But let me ask this. When he came up to the plate later in the game,
I believe did he hit?
He went yard over a ball right in the middle of home plate. Say, Ricky, I'm not the manager of that team, bro. It is obvious that I'm not the man. Florin would have thrown at that guy. Florin, our coach at Slam, that guy is unfazed. That guy is grace under pressure. He doesn't even raise his voice. Maybe he does to you guys. I see him, he's even keel. What's going on? Like, here's if you look up a consistency in the dictionary, right, the same way you would look up sport in the dictionary, you'd see a picture of Florin. Florin is just consistent. Like, it's who he is. Everybody who I know that knows him, he's 30 going on 47. Like, that's exactly who Eric Florin is. I'm telling you, Eric Florin would have thrown at this guy. So our manager, Don Mattingly, decides not to throw at him, and the guy hits a home run. Home run.
Well, see, the thing is, like, we talked about this. I thought it was over. Once you hit Brian Anderson, like, I thought it was over. You haven't thrown at anybody the first time we played, the first time the Marlins played. So I would have thrown at once you threw behind Urena, I would have thrown at the very next guy.
The next guy. And then get it done, you're done with it, but no. Kerplunk. We would have tested how shatterproof the helmet was.
Well, I never think you should go for that.
Never.
Yeah,
Never.
For the head.
You know when Brian McCann's garbage stops? When something like that happens. When somebody else has to pay for his nonsense. That's the guy that waits for your home plate and starts a fight with you.
Well, he did
Remember the Chris Johnson thing with Jose Fernandez? Of course he did. I've said it probably 5 times in the last 2 weeks. I'll say it again because he hasn't heard it. My favorite interview of my entire life is when I interviewed Bill Buckner about the ball going between his legs. My second favorite interview of all time is when I took Chris Johnson to the woodshed when he became a Marlin, just weeks before Jose Fernandez was killed in his boat. And I told him, you better have a good reason on this show right now as to why you did what you did to Jose Fernandez. That's my boy. Go. And he started cracking up. And then he told us a story. You heard me say it this weekend on radio. He told us a story about how him and Jose became boys. And then I brought up to him, I go, I think it's I think this McCann guy is a troublemaker, this, that, and the other, right? I think he was there at the time. But you guys had no excuses. If I remember correctly, McCann was he part of that team?
Yeah, he was a catcher.
He was a catcher that year.
He was a
right?
catcher who waited for Jose Fernandez.
But by the
at home
time
plate.
I got to Chris, he was already a Yankee. McCann was, is what I'm thinking.
Okay,
so I remember bringing up McCann in the interview, and he just laughed. He didn't say anything, because I went off on McCann. Like, when did this become okay? Like, I don't like the beanball wars any more than the next guy, right? But when you have a catcher who's instigating the issue as openly as this guy is, looking for fights in a game where you're not supposed to fight, when do suspensions come into play? The NBA, if you sneeze and cross the line during a fight, but you sneeze, you didn't realize it, you're going to get suspended for a game because you went on the court. Like, when is it that you say, we don't want this behavior, therefore you inciting this, you're getting punished?
Right.
So they'll suspend the guy who throws at him, the other guy, but the catcher never gets suspended in all of this.
I would think maybe if Major League Baseball goes the route of the NBA, if you come out of the dugout, suspension.
No, I got one better. If you're going to toss somebody for a beanball, you toss the catcher as well. You toss the battery. If you toss the pitcher, you toss the catcher. You want to end the beanball wars?
The catcher didn't give up the home run.
No, but the catcher called the sign. But again, anything is to a detriment.
Yeah.
Here, we take your jacket away if it's not a slam jacket, right? Yeah. Eventually, we give it back to you. But it's the immediate consequence.
Right.
If you have the oh-ish moment of you lost the pitcher and the catcher because of one bad pitch,